All right, Mayor Martin, you can begin the meeting.
All right, thank you. I'll call this meeting to order for Monday, December 7th, 2020. I'll remind everyone to mute your or turn the vibrate off or turn the vibrate on your cell phone. We're starting off good here. Or turn your cell phones off. Remind council declaration of pecuniary interest if it arises. And we have minutes here from the regular council meeting of December 16th, November 20th, November 27th. I'll look for a motion to receive them. Councillor Ellis, moving. Seconder, Councillor Webb, all in favor? And that's carried. Before we get into the public zoning meeting, I just want to let council know I sent a message to Mayor Amiot with regards to the fire up there and let her know that HBM is thinking of them, and if there's anything we can do, we're there for them, because this affects our residents too up there. So it's really unfortunate. I was up there last weekend for a food drive with them, and then this weekend it's gone. So just shows you how fast things change. But like somebody said, 2020, who knows what you're going to get. So it's really unfortunate, but hopefully they can rebound from this, and I'm sure they will. So we're going to go into a public zoning meeting. Look for a motion to move into the zoning meeting. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy, seconded by Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. We have one application here for a zoning bylaw amendment, and it's Joel and Danielle Mackey. This is a statutory public meeting held under Section 34 of the Planning Act. The owners applicants are Joel and Daniela Mackey. The property is described as part of lots 13 and 14, concession 3, having a municipal address of 164 Fire Road 33, Belmont Ward, having a roll number of 1531 010 003 23002. Any persons may attend the public meeting and or make verbal or written representation either in support or opposition of the proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Please keep your video off and microphone muted during the meeting until the chair invites you for comments regarding the planning matters. If a person or public body does not make oral submission at the public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen before the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen to the local planning appeal tribunal. If a person or public body does make an oral submission at the public meeting or make written submissions to the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen before the proposed zoning bylaw amendment is passed, the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of the appeal before the local planning appeal tribunal unless, in the opinion of the tribunal, there are reasonable grounds to add the public body as a party. If you wish to be notified of the passing of the zoning bylaw amendment, you must make a written request to the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen. So I'll invite Laura to comment on this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and good morning, Council. As Mr. Mayor mentioned, the owners are Joel and Daniela Mackey. The zoning for this property is currently seasonal residential, and the official plan designation is shoreline residential. The recommendation for this application is that, subject to any new information or public comments received prior to or at the statutory public meeting today, the draft bylaw be passed as presented and that this application be approved. As noted in the council's agenda, we have heard from Crow Valley Conservation and they don't have any concerns with this application. This application is being made to rebuild the top story of an existing cottage and to permit a permanent use. The subject property fronts onto Belmont Lake and is surrounded by other seasonal residentially zoned properties. In the summer of 2020, a minor variance application was made to permit the rebuild of the garage and to put a new deck and additions onto the existing cottage. This application is to change the use, as both a permanent dwelling and a rebuild with greater dimensions are not permitted on a property with a seasonal residential zone. This application meets the intent of both the township and county's official plan, the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe, and the provincial policy statement. This application also conforms to the spirit of the comprehensive zoning bylaw in that no new structures are being proposed to be added at this time, with the exception of the rebuilt upper story, but that was there previously. And there will be no further encroaching into the water yard. It is my recommendation that this application be approved.
All right, thank you. So is the applicant on the Zoom meeting?
So Bob Prinz is here and he's the agent for the applicant.
Okay, so I'm going to start off by asking if there's anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application. So Bob, I don't know whether you have anything to add. He's connecting to audio, so. I'll just give it a second there and see if I can move on to if there's anybody wishing to speak against this application. I'll do it the other way around then. Is there anybody on here that wishes to speak against this application? Hearing none. Bob, I do see, I think, oh, maybe we lost him. Are you there, Bob? I think we have some difficulty there. So I'm sure he was in favor of this application. So we'll just move on. So we can, that was what we've got for this application, and we can go out into the public meeting and deal with the, go out into our regular council meeting and deal with the bylaw if you like, or we can carry on with the rest of the meeting. So I'll get a motion to go back to the regular council meeting, moved by Councillor Webb. And is there a seconder for that? Deputy Mayor Giroux, and all in favor? And that's carried. So we're back into the regular meeting, and we do have a bylaw here with regards to this. And if it's council's wish, we can deal with it right now and get it out of the way. Councillor Webb?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. We go with the advice of the planner and approve the recommendation.
Okay, we have a mover there from Councillor Webb, and Councillor Pomeroy, are you seconding that? Okay, and Councillor Pomeroy is seconding that. So the bylaw is that we amend the comprehensive zoning bylaw of the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen in order to change the zoning category on a portion of these lands. All in favor of those motions? And that's carried. So that bylaw is passed there, Laura. And we'll move in. Now we have to go into Committee of Adjustment with Deputy Mayor Giroux in the chair. I'll look for a motion to turn it over to him. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy. Seconder, Councillor Webb, all in favor, and that's carried. Okay, Deputy Mayor Giroux, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. Good morning, members of council. I will now call this Committee of Adjustment meeting to order and remind the members of the committee of the requirement to disclose any pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof if the occasion arises. This public meeting is held under Section 45 of the Planning Act and its regulations. We have two minor variances to deal with in the open session or session this morning. Minor variance A01-020. So I'll ask our planner, Laura, to present the application.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The subject property, the background is as follows. The property owner is Denise Bonner. The agent is Bruce Bonner, and that's just a correction from the report that you guys have. The municipal address is 167 Fire Route 65B, roll number 1531 010 005 32800, lot 5, concession 6. The area is 0.52 acres. The zoning is seasonal residential, and the official plan designation is shoreline residential. It is in Methuen Ward. The purpose is to seek relief from section 11.2.1G, which states that the maximum lot coverage of the seasonal residential zone shall not exceed 15%, to permit the construction of a detached garage on a seasonal residential property having the following effect: to permit the maximum lot coverage of 17.3%. The recommendation is that minor variance application A-01-20 for the construction of a detached two-story garage with a height to total 17.3% lot coverage for all structures on the property to be approved with the following conditions: that the development be done in accordance with the site plan submitted, that any requisite approval be received by applicable approval authorities prior to the building permit being issued, that a building permit be issued within 12 months of the approval of this application, and that the balance of the information in this report be received. As mentioned in the report, the application is to allow for a two-story garage that will increase the lot coverage by 2.3% over the maximum permitted. This application does meet the 4 tests of the minor variance and is in keeping with the provincial policy statement and the growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe. Additionally, I did hear from Crow Valley Conservation on Friday, and they don't have any concerns about this application. As such, it is my recommendation that this application be approved.
Thank you, Laura. For the record, is the applicant or their agent here present this morning with us?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't quite get that, but apparently there
Oh,
is.
sorry. Yes, Bruce Bonner is present.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bonner. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition of this application this morning that may be with us? I'll ask that one more time because we are on Zoom and sometimes the little delay. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition of this application? Hearing none, is there anyone wishing to speak in favor of this application besides Mr. Bonner, of course? Mr. Bonner, do you have anything to add?
I just had a question on Laura's description. You'd mentioned a 2-story garage versus a 2-car garage. Is that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Through you, Mr. Chair, that was just a slip of the tongue. So it is a 2-car garage.
It's not a 2-story garage. There's
Okay,
there's an existing garage on the property that was built many, many years ago. It's cantilevered out over a cliff and it's very unsafe. So I wish to improve the safety of the garage, make it more usable. That's all.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the members of the Committee of Adjustment? Mayor Martin?
Yeah, no, it's pretty straightforward here, and I'd be prepared to make a motion that we approve this minor variance.
It has been moved by Mayor Martin. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ellis, second the motion. All in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Thank you, Laura. That is carried. Thank you for that one. I believe now we have the second one is A-08-20. If you would give that report.
Thank you very much. The background is as follows. The property owners are Carolyn Pollard and Brad Hulse. The agent is Trevor Day and Associates. The municipal address is 35 Fire Route 65B. Roll number 153101005-21300, lot 5, concession 5. The area is 0.27 acres. The zoning is seasonal residential. The official plan designation is shoreline residential, and it's in the Methuen ward. The purpose is to seek relief from section 4.36 to permit a covered attached storage shed along the side of the cottage with a seasonal residential property having the following effects: to permit an attached shed at 5.95 meters from the high water mark. The recommendation is that minor variance application A-08-20 for an attached shed to a cottage at 5.95 meters from the high water mark be approved with the following conditions: that the development be done in accordance with the site plan submitted, that any requisite approval be received by applicable approval authorities prior to the building permit being issued, that a building permit be issued within 12 months of the approval of this application, and that the balance of the information in this report be received. As mentioned in the report, the site plan did change to have a storage shed located on the side of the existing cottage. This application does meet the 4 tests of the minor variance and is in keeping with the provincial policy statement and growth plan for the Greater Golden Horseshoe. I heard from Crow Valley Conservation Authority on Friday last week that they do not have any concerns about this application. As such, it is my recommendation that this application be approved.
All right, thank you, Laura. Is the applicant or the agent present with us this morning?
I don't think so.
All right, thank you for that, Laura. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition of this application? Give it a minute. Is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition that may be with us this morning of this application? Hearing none, is there anyone wishing to speak in favor? Are there any questions or comments from the Committee of Adjustment? Councillor Ellis?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'd just like to comment that this represents good planning. Thank you, Laura Stone, for your work there, and motion to approve the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Ellis. We have a mover. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Pomeroy, second the motion. All in favor of the motion? That motion is carried. Thank you for your reports this morning, Laura.
Thank you, Council.
I will now receive a motion to turn the meeting back over to the mayor. Councillor Webb, seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? Motion carried. Meeting is yours, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're going to move into delegations next. And I don't see Sierra Planning on the screen here. So I'm going to see if there's any other delegations or anybody wishing to make delegation here today before we move into staff reports, I guess, unless Mr. Hack comes on here in the next few minutes. But Bianca, was there any other delegations today?
No, there was not.
Okay, thank you. All right then, so Bob, go ahead.
Sorry, through you, Mayor Martin. I'm not sure if there's been technical difficulties. We're not clear what's happened, but our scheduled presenter is not available, has not joined the meeting. So I don't know what council's wishes may be with respect to the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. If you feel comfortable that you've read the document and you wish to proceed with a motion of some sort, we may today, or we can wait for the presentation at a later meeting.
I went through it pretty thoroughly, and I don't know whether there's much he can add to it. I don't know what Ryan's thoughts are, but we pretty well, it would be nice to ask him some questions, I guess, or get some comments on some things, but I think it can be received and we can start proceeding with some of the things on there is my thoughts, but it's up to council. It was a long-term vision here, and there's a lot of things here we can maybe look at seeing how we can implement, but it would have been nice to have had him here. What's council's thoughts? Deputy Mayor Giroux?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, if I'm on. Well, we've put a lot of time and money into this. I am kind of disappointed that there's no one here to represent and walk us through this. I think it's a fairly well written document, but probably I would have had some questions. I think we could move forward, but I think council should perhaps set a date and time that we could at least discuss this at some length. We can certainly receive it on your proposal as your suggestion. I am disappointed. It could be technical, but I still think we should have a presentation on it. I mean, it was taxpayers' money.
Yeah, so I'll see what Bob says, but maybe we can just leave it for now, Bob, and see, can we come back to this in the meeting once, see if it is technical?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Mr. Hack is now on the phone with Bianca attempting to join the meeting. So perhaps we could just move on and slide back to this item if he's able to join.
That would be perfect. Okay. All right, that's good with council. All right then. Councillor Ellis, go ahead.
That's for you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick question. I would direct it to Ryan. I was trying to understand the difference between this report on the master plan versus the one we listened to or read or listened to prior. So what was the difference, to Ryan, what was the difference between this report and the previous one?
I think he's frozen.
You're muted, Ryan.
There we are. Good morning. So yeah, the last presentation that you received, there was some information that was incorrect that needed to be changed, and we did remove a couple of things as well from that report. So there's just a few changes there. Nothing major though.
Okay, thank you.
I think there's a lot more detail in this one as far as some actual things that were suggested through the public meetings. So that's what I was hoping he was going to bring out today.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's move into staff reports unless he's on the line now. I don't see him yet. So let's move into staff reports for information here, and we can come back to that once he's on board here. So our first staff report for information, Margaret had a report with regards to the Clear Bag program and advertising. Margaret, are you there?
Good morning, Mayor Martin and Council.
Welcome. Another report from Margaret. So, boy, go ahead.
My report today is for information. I provided documentation of advertisements that I have prepared for the municipality to go out to inform residents of the Clear Bag program for 2021.
Yeah, so it's very well done. Did you do all them advertising things yourself, or are they pulled from other things, or?
I did reference other municipalities, but I created the documents and advertisements myself, yes, with advice from other members in the office.
Well, that's good, because it's going to be a big thing for us. Like even myself, as much as I want to see it happen, I don't know a lot about how to make it happen. So your report has a lot of details in there that's going to be really helpful for the public. Has council got any questions or comments for Margaret? Go ahead, Larry, and then Barry.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I want to recognize Margaret for her very detailed report. It's done very, very well. I'm wondering how the general public is going to get that information that you put together.
So many of the advertisements are being released in different platforms. There was a notice provided to all utility users in the village through their December utility bill. Additionally, the notice was provided in the Havelock Rail, which is provided to all residents within the Township of Havelock-Belmont-Methuen. We have information on our electronic sign to reference our website if they have access to internet. So all the information is available there for them to reference as well. We have posters provided at our transfer station. They've both been put on the gate for when the transfer station is closed, as well as the booths for all transfer stations. We will also have handouts for residents when they attend the transfer stations to get further information to also access the website. Additional advertisements are being placed in the newspaper. It will be the community press, and it will be a quarter-page advertisement with the information. We will also be releasing information on our Facebook and Twitter page to reference our website for more information about the Clear Bag program.
Very good. It's starting to generate some interest in the public, and of course, we're getting the questions fired at us. So that report that you put together is very, very well done, and lots of good detail in it, Margaret. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Barry, go ahead. You're muted.
I think we should have had more discussion on this before notices were sent out. The one bag policy won't work. I don't know how to put this. Well, I do. First of all, we've changed so much. Like with the one bag, there was no limit on the ones in Havelock before. We look after our own garbage. It don't go to the 6th line. It's taken out by our contractor. And it has been since what, about 1988. We've had a contract And I realize that the clear plastic has got to come in, but in the village board, sometimes there's 2 bags, sometimes there's 3 bags at a household. And if you look, if anybody drives around here on garbage day or recycling day, they'll see a lot of blue boxes out. The village board has been way ahead of anybody as far as recycling. And our contract with the garbage is over and above what we pay extra. And we pay by the tonnage. I know we can be educated to do more recycling, but I don't think it's fair that we pick on the village residents here that, you know, have been looking after it all the way along. Jim, you can smile if you want, but it's highly unfair that you put a limit of 1 bag onto an area that's paying for itself. And then you want to increase the bag tag fees. Well, we don't need to in the municipality, in our village board, because we're not running at a deficit. And we don't take our garbage down to the 6 liner most of the time anyway. There's not, I go down maybe 2 or 3 times a year just to see what's going on down there. And I just don't feel that we got to look at some other aspects here. And I think it was premature with sending out the notices. You know, I got calls from people that got their water bills and they're all excited. And, you know, you try to calm them down, but then they say, well, it says right here, 1 bag, 30 pounds. We never had any of those restrictions before. And when it comes right down to the end of it, if someone has 2 bags of garbage and they're already, you know, recycled and garbage, and you can only put 1 bag out, where's the other bag going to go? You're just creating a problem. And that's be the same thing in the township. Like, but you can go down to the township waste or transfer station, and you can have 6 bags and put tags on them and send them away. So I don't know why you're trying to penalize the residents in the village board. And if people want to get rid of garbage, you're going to find it along the streets, and it's not, or out in the ditch on the way to the dump. But there should have been some more thought went into this. I agree with the whole plan and principle, but I think we should have had more discussion on it.
Okay, thanks, Barry. And we did talk about it and we did pass it. And like I told you on Friday, we can amend it. That's a simple way of fixing this thing here, is to just amend the 1 bag limit and just encourage people to use less garbage is all we can do. But we can amend it. It's a simple solution, and we can work forward in trying to eliminate our waste. Like the report said about Duro Dummer and all the tons that they've saved. That's our goal in this. And so I think that's all you got to do is make a motion to amend the 1 bag limit. We're already finding garbage on the side of the road and there is no limit. So maybe this would just encourage more. I don't know. But if somebody wants to make a motion to amend the 1 bag limit, that's we can take that out of there. So, Barry?
Yeah, well, I'm sure the garbage that you find along the road isn't from the village board. But anyway, I'm assured that we need more than a 1 bag limit. I know Hart brought it up the last time too. And, you know, there is some families that have to have 2 bags. And if it was 3, 4, whatever, it don't matter. If you're only going to use 1 bag, that's fine. But don't put a limit on it. You know, like there was no limit on our previous one. And we, like in the village board, we paid our tonnage, got rid of the garbage. It's still going to apply the clear plastic and 30 pounds. You know, like that's not very much for a family, especially young families with kids. So anyway, I think it has to be amended. Hart, you're around on garbage day. How many bags do you think it should be?
Yeah, well, I tend to agree, Barry. As long as we're using the clear bags, I can't see what the number of bags has to do with it. Because if what's in the clear bags should be legal garbage, so I don't know why we would be restricting people from dumping garbage. So I get that point. I kind of like the program a little bit, but like I said, there might be a little bit of tweaking here in terms of what's in it. But I think we're headed in the right direction. But I think Barry brings up a good point in terms of just little things, Jim. In terms of one bag, 30 pounds. A lot of older people in our community, some 70, 80-year-old lady is going to be loading 30 pounds, like weighing her bag out so she can, get it out to the thing. She's more liable to take 2 or 3 pound bags out to the thing, right? So I don't know, just little things like that in terms of our community. We're heading in this direction, but I think there's ways we can work with the public to kind of ease this into. So
we can amend it, Hart. That's an option. I'll go to Margaret and then I'll go to Deputy Mayor Giroux.
Thank you, Council. I do understand your concerns for our clear bag program and having one bag curbside. The program was created and presented at Council with those guidelines and limitations, and it was passed. The 30-pound weight limit for the garbage bag is a guideline. This is for the safety of the collectors for picking up the garbage curbside. It does not have to be 30 pounds. It can be 30 pounds or less. If it fluctuates in a couple pounds, then it will not be left behind. It is just for safety and regulations. I have discussed with Waste Connections, our current contract, the proposal of increasing the bag limit to 2 curbside, and this will increase our costs an approximate of 15 to 20% just for consideration.
Okay. Dave, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. Margaret explained the weight. I was just going to suggest to ask Margaret to explain where the weight came from because I knew where it came from. Thank you, Margaret.
Okay, Barry and then Hart.
Yeah, do we have a contract with our waste contractor, Margaret?
We do currently have a contract with Waste Connections of Canada.
Okay, and there's no bag limit. We pay by the tonnage. Now, all of a sudden, when you get inquiring, if you're going to put 2 bags out, you're going to be penalized. That's crap because we pay by the ton. Like there's just some of these little things that have to be tweaked. Now the contractor's in on it and he says, oh yeah, well, here's a chance here for me to charge more money. There's no reason to charge more money. Like there should be less garbage. There should be more recycling. When this program gets started, I understand that. And, most people want to be part of it, but don't restrict the people in the village board that are paying for this thing. And then you get the contractor to say it's going to be additional charge for 2 bags when he's already picking up 2, 3, at a lot of houses. Myself, I fall, well into this category of 1 bag and the recycling. A lot of people do, but I just can't see like it's brought up that I don't agree with it. As soon as the contractor gets a hold of this, you inquire.
Okay.
3, and then you want it. Now, if it goes up to 2, they want more money. Wrong.
All right, Councillor Webb, go ahead, and then we got to move on with this. If you want to make a motion that we amend.
Yeah, sorry, just for clarification,
So,
Margaret, when you said for the 2 bags, we get charged more, is that just obviously within the town for the garbage pickup or?
I have not received specific details about the changes in cost for our curbside collection. I did a general inquiry to see if we increased the limit to 2 bags curbside, and I was advised that it is 15 to 20% increase. This is for possible additional staff for longer collection times and possibly requiring more trucks, being that there would be considered more garbage curbside. So that was the advice I received from our contract.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I understand that maybe for the town ward, but to Councillor Pomeroy's point in terms, I thought we're getting charged by the actual weight. So whether the weight's in 1 bag or in 5 bags, what's the difference? That's my question. And if you want to make them put it in a clear bag, that's fine too, but what's the difference?
So I would have to clarify with our contract.
If anything, we're making money off the clear bags by selling more clear bags.
I can't speak in regards to that, unfortunately.
Okay, so yeah, you're right, 100%. It's by weight, so we can clarify that. When's the contract due, Margaret? Do you know that at all, or?
No, I'm afraid I don't have those details, but I can look into it.
All right, so the big thing here is, I think you had said before that with the numbers, there was nothing, that we couldn't find anything anyways. We don't know where that came from. And they've been picking them up anyways by the sounds of it. So it's just one of those things, just to amend, take the number out of there. And hopefully the recycling is going to take care of itself, because if you have a choice of putting it out for free or paying for it, hopefully they're smart enough to go with the free. And I know myself, I have 1 bag every 2 weeks. So it's, I have a truckload of recycles though. So that's, it does work, and there's an option for people. So let's just take the numbers out of there and work with it here, because I think it'll take care of itself, and you'll find that people will only need 1 bag once they start recycling properly. So what's your thoughts there, Council? If somebody wants to make a motion, go ahead, Councillor Ellis.
Yeah, motion to amend the program to remove the number, as you say, and continue on with the program as in the clear bag. I don't think you're going to see much change. The whole goal here is to utilize the clear bag and to eliminate recycling in your garbage bag. So nothing has changed as far as that part of the program. We're just going to remove the number of bags for the village ward.
Thank you, Councillor Ellis. And Councillor Webb, you're seconding that? Okay, all in favor of the motion?
Okay.
And that's carried. Bob, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, just for very clear clarification on the resolution, there is a no bag limit to the clear bag program. Is that the resolution?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. So we're going to move on. Hopefully people take advantage of the recycle and look for the free option. Anyways, okay, we'll, so thank you, Margaret. Great report. And we're going to move back to, I do see John Hack on here with the Recreation Master Plan. So maybe we can move into that and take care of that now. Welcome, John.
Good morning, Your Worship, members of council.
Yeah, so we've received your report in our package this week, and I see a lot more detail in it, and it does have a long-term vision here, and making better use of our facilities, and there was some suggestions there of things that could happen in the future to make Havelock a better place for recreation. So is there anything that you can, did you want to go through it here?
I can share the screen with the summary document, just really for the benefit to the public, I guess, and for council just to whip through. It's not a formal presentation, but I think it's probably helpful to do that. So I can do that.
Okay. All right, then.
Okay, so hopefully everyone can see me scrolling through a document.
Yeah.
So just for everyone's benefit, this is the attractive version, meaning, you know, the recreation master plans, what they are policy documents. They're not statutory. They don't hold you or the next cycle of council to any particular decisions, but they should give you a policy framework to allow you to make decisions about funding and operations and staffing and partnerships and responding to volunteer volunteer organizations that want to do good things for the community, so on and so forth, in the context of everything else that you have to do as a municipal council and administration. So they're there to be helpful, not to back anyone into corners about what you do. So in that context, there is a larger master plan. You can use it to prop doors open if you need to, but it is there as a detailed rationale and explanation as to why you're doing what you're doing. What you have in front of you is an executive summary that I'm just going to scroll through it. This, of course, will find its way, I'm sure, onto the website for the municipality. The most important thing I would indicate to you is that the key principles are where council is going to find the most use in this, because you're going to do things according to your abilities to fund them, and things usually take a little longer than you expect, because a plan to reinvest in the community center, to bring in a splash pad, all great ideas. What you need to use this plan for is to then move quickly into the next phase, which is some design work and clearer ideas of costing, where it might go. If you stop and don't do anything, you'll return to this in a year's time, and that may be necessary given circumstances, but you lose that period of time. It doesn't just happen overnight. You need to do the investment in design work, for example. So in just going through it, you have the usual sort of somewhat motherhood statements, but they're particularly important. They remain important. Active and healthy lifestyle, effective range of indoor outdoor spaces, natural environment, target populations, youth and seniors, and I think importantly, an asset management approach, which means, take care of what you have, improve it, maximize its value. The vision, I don't need to get into too much detail. I think it's self-explanatory. What we've written as a vision may not be that of everybody, and that's fine. This is really just meant to focus the issue. The scope was broad, and let me just get on to what we heard from people: enhance assets, accessibility, fit health and fitness, a big concern with making sure that Havelock as a whole thrives, and recreation is important to that. So it shouldn't be seen as a siloed objective. It's really part of your economic development as well. Goals and objectives really fall from it. And again, I emphasize the importance of these individual objectives, because these are the things that maybe in a year's time or 2 years' time, you want to be able to come back and say that we've moved on some of these. You won't complete it all, but obviously you started to move on it. For second one there, for example, strategic investment in parks and recreation. So if grant money is available and you move on those plans to perhaps improve the current community center by putting an addition on it, well, there needs to be an investment in multi-use and multi-generational use of the space, et cetera, et cetera. You can just follow through those objectives to make sure that each are obtained by any of the actions that you take. Couple of big things. So the HBM Community Center, and I drove through there about a month ago, just on the way back from Ottawa, and had another good look at it. It's a lot tighter than you think, that site. So there's going to need to be some careful work done. I think the good advice of staff, speaking to Ryan throughout the project, was, the plan to relocate the Bull Diamond. That's going to give you all sorts of breathing room, and probably end up with a better, well, you will get a better Bull Diamond as a result of it. And that means, therefore, until you can move on that plan, you're going to have to you have to feather the throttle in terms of how much work you do on the existing facility, so that you're not having throwaway capital. So that, again, is a reason why you would want to push through reasonably quickly on some of these things, because the longer you leave it, there are those questions about what do you do with the existing field, lighting, grade. These are all justifiable issues to resolve. But if you're going to try and do something on another site, you don't want to be caught in that no man's land of not being able to speak to a commitment elsewhere, and also not wanting to spend money you don't need to on a facility that ultimately would be decommissioned. So that's on the sort of tricky side. The easier side, if I can put it this way, is a water play park, a splash pad, something that has, again, it's multi-generational in the sense that families can use it. I also think the location is important, not dramatically so, but the idea that it could be a reason for people to stop along Highway 7 in the summer as they're coming through. I think those are the sorts of things you want to look at. So the idea of a water play park, and you can really scale that to the budget that you think is appropriate. And I would ask you to maybe do a little bit of further research with the public down the road as to what you can have. You could have something as simple as a spray pad, which you see in many places, which is just, you know, some concrete, great water features. Kids get sort of showered by this. Everyone cools off. That can be the cheaper end. At the more expansive end, you can develop significant parks, which benefit not only toddlers but children, and even, you know, young adults can find a space there just to get out of the heat and so on. So I think when we say, that's why we've used the term water play as opposed to a splash pad. Splash pads are kind of old school. They're the ones you see in the cities where it's essentially a pool that you get into knee deep. It's not that anymore. And I know you've got examples in and around Havelock that might be good examples of what to do, but that's a project which I think should excite everybody. Finding a location for the seasonal outdoor rink to give it a kind of a permanent home, that was something else. Revitalizing existing parks, that's always on the menu, and you know, we've codified it in the plan that we have here. And you know, obviously public access to water and beaches, recognizing that there is a cottage community, but there is also obviously others that want to have good access to the natural assets that the community has. One of the things we want to make sure is that everyone understands the need to invest in some due diligence to get any of this done, and you have to then resource it. It doesn't mean, so that's a balance of whether you use consultants or you have internal staff. Obviously, you want to have somebody designated internally that can move this plan forward, and whether that's just, you know, keeping it moving now by commissioning some work, or actually being more involved in implementation of some of the recommendations. That's going to have to be a decision that you make down the road. And I really do stress the need to monitor and recognize that your priorities may shift. You've got a lot, municipalities the country over have a lot on their plates. So this shouldn't be read as us having the blinkers on. I think we understand it, but you need to be able to monitor the success of this plan over time. Otherwise it will become one where you know, future councils have to ask what happened. Now, if you get grant monies and you're able to apply those, I think this will take care of itself, because you'll be moving forward on things. And when you build things, you talk about programming them and you talk about staffing them. And so I think a lot of this will naturally get taken care of, but I think it's important. And then we've listed out the recommendations. I don't need to go into the details on those. I will just scroll, if you don't mind, through to some of the imagery that we had collected. It's a lot of recommendations. And then capital costing, you'll do at the appropriate time. Here's some, the Old Norwood Road site in terms of just site fit. Here's a site that we've defined for this. You own a lot of land. You can split this up any way you like, but if you are going to relocate diamonds, then there are ways. We've shown them with the direction of the batter facing northeast, I should say. You can do it any way you wish to make it work as a better park. But in terms of just the amount of room you have plenty of room, obviously, and you can also put soccer in if you wish. All of that comes with a price tag. So this is not This is nothing more than an exploration of the opportunities in this area. And then similarly for the HBM Community Center, you know, as I said, it's a tight site. Once you relocate that ball diamond, you can start to plan for site circulation. I know the water, the plant there is pumping station, I think it is a fixed asset, but the play features can be improved, and access can be improved, parking can be improved. And if you are going to do a facility expansion at some point on this pretty, you know, long-standing building, we would guess that this is the area that you might do it. You have a main door there, and you'll need to go into the treat area a little bit, but it's that kind of thing, which is just ideas. At some point, you're going to need to look at this in more detail, but hopefully those grant monies, if and when, will help that. So that's it. Let me turn it back to you, Mr. Mayor, and I'll be happy to take any questions from council.
Okay, thank you, John. And it was a well-done report as far as once you get right into reading the full report and all the people that you talk to. Like, I know you've reached out to everybody, including our residents and all the user groups. And so you did have a lot of input into this. And unfortunately, COVID came along and kind of slowed things up a little bit. But by receiving this today, it will give us an opportunity to see what we can do with it and hopefully move ahead with something. So I'm going to open it up to council here. If you get any questions for John? Not seeing anyone. So John, it's yeah, it's well done. We'll be reviewing it, I'm sure, a lot more thoroughly, and Ryan can try and lead us through this thing. So Ryan, did you have anything to add to it?
Good morning. Yeah, no, I just wanted to thank John for the work that he put into this project. It's been a lot of work and a lot of effort went into it, and it was really important that this happened for the community so that we can and to help guide us through the future. And just want to say thanks. Really appreciate all the work that you put into it, John.
Well, thank you. And if anyone has any questions about next phases and so on, just needs to get some advice on that, just feel free to pick up the phone. I'll be happy to give you any advice we can. We have a lot of best practice and examples of projects in our office. So, you know, if and when, just let us know.
Thank you. So with that, I'll look for a motion to receive the report. Councillor Webb, moving it. Seconded by Councillor Ellis. All in favor? And that's carried.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
So with that, we'll move back into staff reports for information. Bob, go ahead.
Sorry, through you, Mayor Martin, just to clarify, is the motion to adopt the Parks and Recreation Master Plan?
That's probably how I should have worded it. What's council's thoughts there? We just received it, but motion to adopt the plan. Moved by Councillor Webb, seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. A comment? Go ahead. You're muted. Bianca, is there a reason why Barry can't unmute there?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll move to Dave and then Barry can try and work on that. Go ahead, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a clarification from our CAO. If we adopt this plan, that means that we move forward with the plan, and we can't move forward with all aspects of this plan. We have to take this one step at a time. So if you could clarify that for me, so I might vote in favor of this, that would be okay.
Okay, Bob. Go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. If the plan is adopted today, council can move ahead at its own pace. So you don't need to adopt it all today, or you don't need to do it all today or do it all tomorrow. Council moves at its own pace.
Well, that's the clarification I need, because if we adopt this plan and we're looking at several millions of dollars here, I don't want the public to get the impression that we're gonna go run right out and do this plan. I just wanted clarification. Thank you.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Martin, it's simply a guiding document. It's a reference point.
Like you said, so a lot of this stuff will move into the next council too. So go ahead, Barry, and then Larry.
Yeah, I have to go along with Deputy Mayor Dave there because I think if we receive it, we're free and clear to go at our own pace. But if you go the other way, you're committing to something that we really aren't sure of yet. So I'm not in favor of committing myself or any other member of council as far as that goes. It's work in process and progress, but I don't want it to be a final.
And like I say, I think that's what he said as far as it moving in for the next councils or whatever. It's just a plan to adopt. But Bob, you can clarify that. But Larry had something.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. That's what's indicated in the report, that we adopt the report, but it indicates in there, council would move forward as is able to do so. So I don't see a problem with adopting the report for that reason, because it indicates in the report that because you adopt it, that doesn't mean you're committed to blah, blah, blah as you go through it. So it states in the report.
Okay, Councillor Webb.
Yeah, just to echo Councillor Ellis's point, I think John said it's a living document, so it can change at any time, and we're the ones that can change it. So we can go by what's in there, and if we don't like what's in there, then we can change it if we want. So I can't see the problem with adopting it right now.
Okay, Bob, you had something, and then we'll get a seconder. I don't think Barry seconded it. I think he.
No, through you, Mayor Martin, just to echo the thoughts of Councillor Webb, as was stated earlier, it is a live document, and it's a document that can be adapted as necessary.
Okay, thank you. So Councillor Webb, you made the motion to adopt do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Ellis?
Yeah.
Okay. All in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Okay. Next, we'll move into the report for Peter Lawson with regards to the water treatment, the roof maintenance. Is there any questions there? Seeing none. We had another report there from John Small with regards to bylaw enforcement. Well done report. It's easy to read, and with all the statuses of the complaints, it's a little different look, but I like it anyways. I don't know what council's thoughts were there, but is there any questions with regards to that? Seeing none. Oh, Dave, go ahead.
Not a question. I guess you've already thanked our billing official for that report. John, thank you. Well done. Like the mayor said, it was a very good report. Thanks.
Okay, the next report was with regards to Peterborough Housing Corporation conditional building permit. John, is there anything to add to that? Maybe you can just clarify that for us.
Mr. Mayor, Council, this originally was the Peterborough Housing applied for a building permit. Their plans weren't complete at the time. We entered into an agreement, Council, with the Peterborough Housing Authority. They've now completed all that. They're very close to requiring occupancy. So they've met all the requirements of the conditional permit, and it's now been deemed as non-conditional or basically a full building permit so that they can continue and get occupancy with the building.
Thank you, John. Good news. Is there any questions with regards to that report? Dave, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, John, for that report. I refresh my memory. Was it September 2019 that this project was started?
Yes,
So they moved ahead fairly well then.
yes.
Thanks, John.
Okay, thank you. So next we had the Bob's report with regards to closed session meetings to update everyone on how they progress. So with that, I'd look for a motion to receive all the staff reports for information as a whole. Moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux. Seconder. Councillor Pomeroy. Any questions or comments? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we're going to move into staff reports for follow-up action. And the first one we have here is transfer station hours. Peter Lawson.
Yes, good morning, Mayor Martin and members of council. Yes, this report came from the original report with the Jacks Lake hour change. Was brought to the attention that there was a survey done in prior years, and was advised that staff would look into the other transfers as well for hours of operation.
Okay. Dave, is your hand up there? Is that, there's a hand on your screen there. Is that?
I got too many mouses around my desk here and too many computers going. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Peter, for your report. And I would make a motion to move ahead with this report and accept the recommendation.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux that we go with the recommendations here. Seconded by Councillor Webb. Questions, comments? All in favor? And that's carried. Thanks, Peter.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, our next report here is with regards to road purchase. Laura?
Thank you. Thank you. So this report is to outline the request from Mr. and Mrs. Reed to purchase their Crown Shoreline Road Allowance. The attachments to the report outline the location of the allowance. Further, the Reeds are interested in pursuing a minor variance for an addition to their cottage. And as such, it's recommended that council be in support of the Reeds entering into an agreement with the municipality to move forward on planning. That doesn't mean that council agrees in principle to the minor variance, just that they can move forward with the application, because this application does partially take place on the Crown Road Allowance. There is a refundable deposit that will be required as a condition of the agreement.
Okay, so that was a question I had with regards to the road allowance. It's a Crown Road Allowance?
Yes, so it is a Crown Road Allowance, and in the past we have done this a couple times. Typically the deposit is about $10,000, and that will cover any costs if something wacky happens with the shore road purchase.
Okay. All right, is there any questions with regards to that report? Dave, go ahead.
Thank you for your report, Laura. Just a couple of questions for clarification, if I might. The road allowance, there is a road allowance that goes to Methuen Lake at the present time that's used by the odd boater. Is this the one in question?
No, so through you, Mr. Mayor, this is strictly their shoreline road allowance. So it takes place immediately in front of their cottage property. And typically that land is only usable by the owner that's adjacent to it.
Thank you for that clarification. I had to ask the question. Do you know whether the property owners on either side of this piece of property own their shoreline through the?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I believe the property to the east owns the shoreline road allowance.
Thank you for that. Thanks, Laura. That's all the questions I had.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, Larry, go ahead.
Motion to approve the recommendation by our planner. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moved by Councillor Ellis. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. Any more questions or comments? Dave, go ahead.
just one comment. I always make the same one, Laura, because this might move forward, and I hope it does for the property owners. There's no guarantee of a minor variance by the look, but they've already got a piece of, they're building on that property. So anyway, no guarantees. Without seeing the minor variance first, it's pretty hard to comment whether they can have one or not.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I do have the minor variance application here, but until this takes place, I can't deem it as a complete application, so it's not for public knowledge yet, but you will see it very soon.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a mover and seconder on this. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Our next report is with regards to planning and boathouses on Jack's Lake. This is a follow-up from our previous meeting. Laura's looked up all the details of what we need to do to progress with this. So Laura, go ahead.
Thank you very much. So at the council meeting of November 16th, council requested that staff move forward with the planning for the prohibition of dryland boathouses on Jack Lake and deeming Jack Lake as a cold water lake and Sharps Bay as at capacity. As a result, staff approached both DM Wills and FOTEN for a fee schedule. DM Wills is currently our planner of record for the municipality, and FOTEN was responsible for the dock bylaw, which is why they were approached. The fee schedules are attached to the report, and it is requested that council choose a planning firm to move forward with the official plan amendment, as well as the zoning bylaw amendment to prohibit dryland boathouses on Jack Lake.
Okay, and FOTEN was the other firm that we used when we were doing the docks and that, as it said in the report. So it's up to council here on who we use for to move forward with this amendment. What's your thoughts? Councilor Webb, you have your hand up? Or do you hit something?
No.
I don't even know what that hand button is, but you and Dave.
I'm still reviewing here.
Okay, Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, we had Daryl looking after this, and he brought it back to us about 5 times, and nobody ever made a decision, and then COVID come along. And I think if anyone's to blame that it hasn't been done, it's council. You know, we're to blame. We didn't make any decisions. He changed it as what we wanted, and it's come back to bite us here now. But you know, he should have all that document basically ready. I don't know, Flora, if you've contacted either one, but he should be the one that has all the information, and I think it would be more expedient. Myself, I don't know. I'm not in favor of DM Wells, but I have to look at it on the practical side too. So
through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, I have been in contact with both firms. DM Wells does have all the background information, but given that it took place starting a year ago, there's going to be a lot of review. So that's why I think the price tag is pretty similar for both planning consultants. So regardless, there's going to be a lot of reviewing happening, but they do have all the information, yes.
So looking at the costs, they're both the same, whichever one we go with, within $1,000, it looks like to me. So, so I hear you, Barry. You would think it would be nothing, but it looks like it's the same price, even though they've done it already. So anyways, it's up to council here. Is there any other questions or comments on this? Dave, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to move forward on this. I'd have to flip a coin to pick either Putin or DM Wells, maybe. But Laura, you do not have to answer this question if you do want to, but you're the one that's going to be working with them.
What's the question, Deputy Mayor?
Who would you like to work with?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I have had conversations with both firms, and they both are excellent to deal with so far. So I'm going to be very diplomatic and say that I don't have an answer.
Well, I'm going to make a motion that we go with Futan, and if it goes, it goes, and if it don't, it don't. But I want to move forward on this. That's my motion.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux that we go with Votan.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Ellis is seconding that. All in favor of the motion? And that's good. We'll move on. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you very much, council. Have a great day.
You too.
So next, we're going to move into Wendelin with regards to the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program. Welcome, Wendelin.
Good morning, Mayor Martin and council.
Good morning. So that money that we received a couple of weeks ago with regards to it can be used for trails and things like that with regards to COVID. So you have a recommendation in here?
So based on the previous dialogue at the previous council meeting for budget, it was brought up that maybe the Matheson Park could be used for this money. So we have to apply for the money. It's not just automatically given to us. So this is a report for staff to submit the documents to the government for the grant. So it's a maximum of $100,000. 80% is federal, 20% is provincial, and there is no contribution unless we go over the 100,000 on the township side.
So that's good, and there is an opportunity here. I would probably rely on Ryan and Peter to get together and come up with a costing of what it would cost to do it, to work on the trail. But there's another part to this that I think as the Matheson property committee gets rolling, we need to discuss the uses back there, because there's no sense redoing the trails if they're going to get tore up like they are. So Councillor Pomeroy, go ahead.
Yeah, but time is of the essence, and I would like to make a motion that we apply for the grant. And we can, if we can spend the whole $100,000, fine. If we can only spend $80,000 and have to quit, it's fine too. But I think we should get on the bandwagon right now, and I'm willing to make a motion that we make application.
Okay, moved by Councillor Pomeroy that we move ahead with the application. Deputy Mayor Giroux, are you seconding that?
Second that motion.
Okay, all in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendelin. Next, we have surplus and deficit allocations.
Yeah, so this comes to council once a year at the end of the year. We had a slight discussion about it during the budget meeting a week or so ago. So it's before council again.
There's no numbers to go with it though, Wendelin, or?
No, it's just basically to allow, once the auditors confirm all the numbers for year end, to flow them through to the reserves.
And then we can talk about them once that happens, as far as there was some concerns about how much is going back into the reserves and not being used.
Yes, there could be further changes to specific departments if council chose, but this is just basically to get the ball rolling for year end.
Okay, thank you. Any questions there? Or? Okay, Councillor Webb, you're making a motion to go with the recommendation. Do I have a seconder? Deputy Mayor Giroux? Any questions or comments? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, Wendelin.
Thank you.
And next, we have the cost of living increase that was discussed at budget 2. I just wonder what the formula here is for that. I think it's probably explained in here, but they seem to be all over the place. I seen the Crow was 0.75% and ours is 1.6. I just wondered how maybe they have a different formula.
So basically, historically, since I've been here and with the previous treasurers, we've looked at the collective bargaining average in the spring of each year, and that was at 1.6%. So to stay with the same formula, that's what is proposed.
Okay. All right then, what's council's thoughts here? Councillor Webb?
A motion to receive the report?
To go with the recommendation. Okay, moved by Councillor Webb that the recommendation from staff. You're seconding that out, Councillor Ellis?
Yes.
Okay, any questions, comments? Barry, go ahead.
Are we in line with other townships? Is that the way they do it too?
Some use other factors, but I have seen other treasurers have put in 2%. So we're not up at that level. So it's basically an average, and some are unionized depending on their contracts.
Well, council doesn't have a contract. We're just elected. But you know, it's I know other years we've taken, like, if it come out to 1.8, we took 2, and 2% of very little is very little. But anyway, if that's the way it's figured out, I guess I can go along with that.
Yeah, last year it was 2%. This year it's 1.6. So it does fluctuate.
Were you suggesting, Councillor Pomeroy, that the council doesn't take the raise?
No, I wasn't suggesting that at all. I was suggesting maybe they take 2%. Because the other councils that I imagine will get more than 1.6. That's why I asked for an explanation. And if you have a union involved, you get more. But we don't have a union involved. But anyway, union or non-union, you should still be fair.
Okay, Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, I wondered, Council, I've said it before and I'm not shy of saying it again. I've used my home for 75 meetings plus, and there's no compensation for that. So I don't think Councillor Pomeroy is at a line when he's talking about rounding it off. But I'm satisfied with the increase the way it is, but I'm still not satisfied to use my home every 4 times a week.
Okay, so, sorry, Bob, did we have a mover and a seconder on that?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Moved by Councillor Webb, seconded by, did I have that? Councillor Ellis.
Okay, all in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
And read Gwendolyn again with the interim tax bylaw.
Yeah, so this is just to set the dates as per the tax billing policy paper that we have. And it just streamlines things that once we get back at it in January, that we can start prepping for when we print the interim tax bills.
Okay. All right then, Councillor Webb, and then you're moving that. Okay, Deputy Mayor Giroux.
I'm not sure whether this relates to that or not, Wendolyn, but I have a question for you. Those people received a pink paper or green paper, whatever it was, I'm not sure what color it was, explaining the increase in their, I guess it'd be the ones that pay by, oh, it's pink, Larry, thank you, Councillor Ross. An increase in their taxes from their monthly payment that they pay through the bank. Can you give me pardon me?
Yeah, so the pink papers that went out were for the pre-authorized payment plan taxpayers. So based on 50% of your previous year's taxes spread over from January to June, that calculation was done. So if you did see an increase in your taxes in 2020, it is possible that your monthly payment would go up slightly.
So what about the other way? If they overpaid?
So with the pre-authorized payment plan, there are going to be some months that you're going to have a credit position, and then there's some months that you will have a debit position. There is no penalties within that program. So it's just spread out 11 months from January to November.
So those people that plan by payment plan, they really don't know what their payment is. So
That's what the letter was stating, what their payment's going to start January 10th. Based on 2020 taxes.
all right.
But
I
they
don't know
still
how to-
all
I don't
will-
know. I still don't know how to explain to people that ask me now. I'll get to the crutch of it. Last year, their payment went down near the end of the year because they were paying too much. Is that possible?
It all depends on what their assessment is and what, each case is different. Some may not. Some people might have request for reconsideration throughout the year, which reduces their assessment. So then potentially their taxes could go down, but it's on a case by case basis.
So in
So
other
they-
words, when we set our tax rate and we get all the information in from the county and so on and so on, they should have a level bank payment coming out at the end of the month.
So the January to June is based on 50% of the previous year. And then the July to November payment is based on what their new assessment will be and what the increase or decrease in the budget would be.
So just,
All right, thank you.
Yeah, so if anybody has any questions, they can definitely call into the office and we can discuss their personal tax situation.
Thank you.
so Wendland, does this happen every year? Or like, I think Deputy Mayor Giroux has a good point there. Is why couldn't we just do this after the budget's done for the next installment of the bills? Play catch up. Is that?
So this is done each year in December for pre-authorized payment plan taxpayers. So that gives them enough time to understand what their budgetary requirement will be come January 10th.
Okay. All right. Is there any other questions with regards to this? So I'll look for a seconder for the motion. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Our next report here is with regards to council meetings, the day and time. Bob, did you want to speak to that?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Staff is preparing the council meeting schedule for next year for 2021. And prior to presenting that schedule at the next council meeting, it was suggested at a previous council meeting that consideration be given to moving meetings from Monday to Tuesday and possibly re-examining the start time. So we present this report for council's consideration and direction.
Yeah, so I think I had mentioned in the last meeting whether it's time to look at Tuesday's meetings more for efficiencies as far as the timing of our meetings. Gives us time to go in and see staff to clarify things. I know even we're not getting the agenda till Friday, and by the time you go through it on the weekend, if you have any questions for staff, there's only about an hour there to clarify things, and it would be I think it would be a little better if we could go back to our Tuesday meetings, but it's up to council. And as far as the times, I think we were at 9:30 and 5 o'clock for the second meeting of the month when we were doing them in person. You know, somebody had suggested 4 o'clock. That doesn't really matter right now. The big thing here is the day. Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, I like the Tuesday idea because then you can get a hold of staff with any questions. And I think they should be all day meetings as they have been here with the COVID, and we're doing them on the computer and it doesn't seem to be any problem. As far as evenings, we never did have, anybody that, any traffic for evening meetings. So I would like to make a motion that we start on Tuesdays at 9:30. And I imagine we're going to be into this COVID thing for quite a while yet. I don't think we have to worry about evening meetings. So, but when that time arises, I would like to see us stay, on day meetings. It's so much handier to have the staff, there. And we've run into that problem and have it answered right on the spot. We don't have to put things off to another meeting. And that's part of our problem here. We put things off and then we don't get back to it, at the next meeting. So
the motion there is to move to the Tuesday meetings, and I would suggest while we're on Zoom, if we stay on the day meetings, but if we do get back to in-person meetings, we should be looking at evening meetings again. If we want to encourage young people to run for council, they just can't even get involved, or they can't even see what goes on. They can watch a Zoom meeting, but to come out personally to a meeting, I know when I first got involved, it was so much easier to come and sit and watch how council worked. And I think that's the thing here. We want to encourage young people to get involved. And if we keep daytime meetings, anybody that's working can't do it. Plus it would help, I think, hard even and myself with working. The evening is kind of an easier time for us, but it's totally up to council. While we're on Zoom, like you say, the day meetings are working. But if we do get back to in person, I would suggest that we look at continuing with our morning and afternoon meeting, but that's up to council. So you've made a motion to keep them both in the morning?
yes, I have, Tim, and because anybody that's interested, whether they're young or not, can they come to this meeting in the morning if we were at the office? No. So you're cutting the hair down the center. But anyway, I'm making a motion that we have our meetings, all day meetings, starting at 9:30 on Tuesdays.
Yep. So we have a motion there. Do I have a seconder for that? Larry, go ahead. You're seconding.
With a comment?
Okay, go ahead.
In regards to, having evening meetings so people can come and see how council works. As we have noticed, with our virtual meetings being recorded, the attendance or the people that are actually interested in watching the meetings has increased 100-fold from anybody ever being in our municipal office to watch the meeting live. And if we're going to continue to record and broadcast our meetings, I think that covers the point that you're making, where people are given the opportunity to come and see if we're on an afternoon or an evening meeting. So I think that covers it. If we're going to continue and record, as we've seen, there's an interest there. People are watching our COVID performances. So I think that covers the base there if we're going to continue and record. So I'm in agreement with the motion to Tuesday day meetings.
Okay, good point, Larry. And for anybody that's considering running for council, they have to realize too that when they get elected, they have a choice. Like when I first got on, all my meetings were in the evening, as many municipalities have evening meetings still. Not many have daytime meetings, but they'll have an option if they get elected that they can set the time to suit their agendas. So Deputy Mayor Giroux and then Councillor Webb, and then we'll move on.
Just discussion on this motion here. First of all, we used to get our agendas on Thursday mornings. Now we don't get them until Friday. So here's the dilemma that I'm in. Monday is our council meeting. Tuesday, I get to prepare for county council, which is sometimes all day on Wednesday. Thursdays, EOTA. So when do I get time to prepare for my council meeting in Peterborough County Council? It won't be on Tuesday if I'm in a council meeting all day Tuesday.
Well, we have them a week ahead, Dave. That's what I was going to suggest is this one here. We need to start setting a thing that we've talked and talked and talked, but haven't done it. But our township meeting should be dead on the Friday before the meeting. I think we should be setting a deadline. And if there's any amendments that are really time sensitive, the county does send out amendments. But Bob, I really think we need to look at trying to set for the Friday before everything comes to a halt. And if there's any amendments that are time sensitive, we can amend the agenda. But the county, we get ours the Thursday before the Wednesday meeting. So, you know, we have almost a week with it, but the township doesn't. So it's just a thought that we need to get to there. We've talked, but we haven't done. So Councillor Ellis, you had something?
Webb.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think Hart was
Okay.
Sorry. There.
Yeah, I don't mind so much what's been proposed, the Tuesday meetings. I understand some of the things that Deputy Mayor Giroux's talking about too, in terms of maybe some of the stuff's just gonna get pushed off. But if we're going back to the Tuesday meetings, is a possibility we can move the meetings to 9 o'clock instead of 9:30? Because I thought we moved it to 9:30 to give an hour for. So if we have a day, can we not move that back to 9 o'clock? Okay.
Good point. Bob?
Through you, Mayor Martin, absolutely. We can accommodate council with any wish you like. So just to comment on the comments that have been put forward today. First of all, yes, we can accommodate 9 a.m. That's not a problem. With respect to the timing of agendas that are being put forward, typically there is a natural inclination and a natural timeline at the weekend, and we all have a natural inclination to work to our deadlines, but we can certainly advance putting the agenda out sooner. And if addendums are necessary, then they can be addressed as they are at the county. We've tried to avoid the addendum issue, but if that's necessary, we can certainly do it. Okay,
there's Councillor Ellis and Councillor Webb. And we do have a mover and a seconder with the 9:30 time, so we'll have to adjust that if they're willing to. So Councillor Ellis, and then we'll look back at the motion that's made.
Yeah, and in regards to our meeting, our agenda information, that's available on Thursday electronically. I always receive it on Thursday, and anybody that wants an electronic version of the agenda can get an email on Thursday.
Yeah, this week's wouldn't go, couldn't be emailed or something, did I, Bob? Due to the size of it?
You, Mayor Martin, on the rare occasion, there is an oversized document and it is not able to transmit via email. However, if council wishes, we could certainly post it to the website, and it's there to be seen.
Okay, so right now Barry made the motion that we go with 9:30 on Tuesdays. Barry, go ahead.
I'm willing to amend my motion to 9 o'clock, as Hart has suggested.
And the seconder is good with that?
It's fine with me, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other comments with regards to this?
Well,
go ahead, Hart.
Well, it's not. It's another issue in terms of meetings, but like I'm okay with the Tuesdays at 9 if you want to call that. But I got a comment about.
Well, go ahead. Get the comment.
Something else.
Go ahead.
You want to go now or?
Yeah, go ahead, and then
Well, it's just based. Well, as long as we're talking about meetings and efficiency, for me, it'd be in terms of the time limits for our meetings. Like too often, we have meetings here that obviously shouldn't be going anywhere near 3 hours. They're going well over 3 hours. We have closed sessions that go on. I'd like to see some kind of motion made in terms of if we're not done by a certain time in the 3 hours, then, we cut it off and we'll bring it back another day. Because, I don't know, but I have all, I'm here to do work, and I don't mind doing the work when I'm here, but I'm not here for a chat all day, every day. So, I'd like to see a little bit of more focus put into terms of the times of our meetings. So,
okay, we can do that, Hart. Bob, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, just to address that comment from Councillor Webb, absolutely. The procedure bylaw allows for a 3-hour meeting with a possible extension. Just to clarify, the length of meetings are completely determined by council.
Yeah, so we'll have to start practicing that hard. I totally agree with you. If you can't get it done in 3 hours, I had a suggestion to the meetings that I'm going to bring up later, but that's with regards to the closed session being on a separate day, because after 3 hours, we're done. And we seem to be going on 6 hours. Last week, I was trying to squeeze a meeting in, and people felt sorry for me when I told them, oh no, it's going to be all day today. So anyways, it's we do need to talk about that, and that's good comments. So we have a mover and a seconder. All in favor of the motion that we go to 9 o'clock on Tuesdays? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, the next we have surplus properties. Laura or Bob? Do you have anything with that, Bob? You're muted.
Let's try that again. Here we go. All right. Okay, staff has undertaken the process of cataloging properties that are currently owned by the township and may be deemed surplus to the needs of the municipality. So it's recommended that these properties be sold in an effort to establish a fund within the administrative reserve. Two properties are brought forward today, one on Belmont 7th Line and the other on Cole Road. And it's also suggested that as we work through the process of selling these properties, that the opportunity be shared through various local real estate agents.
Okay. All right, then. Is there any questions? Dave, go ahead.
Motion to approve the recommendation.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux, seconded by Councillor Ellis. Questions, comments? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, we have one more thing here, and then I was going to suggest that we take a 5-minute recess before we go into correspondence. So I don't know what you think about that, but the next report here is with regards to the donations to the food bank. Bob, did you want to bring that report forward?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. The staff was approached by organizers of the food bank, and it was indicated that 60 Christmas hampers are being put together and distributed this year. Staff was approached and requested to include an item, a memorabilia item from the township. As a result of deferring our Christmas lunch this year, it was thought that we might propose the idea of shifting those funds into a $10 gift certificate, 60 of those to be purchased at the local Havelock Foodland for the food bank.
Okay. Councillor Webb, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. Nice of staff to put others in front and ahead of themselves in terms of sacrificing their dinner.
Okay.
But I'll make a motion that we.
Okay, Councillor Webb is moving that. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ellis? Is there any questions or comments? Okay, all in favor of that motion? I'm seeing 2 hands. I thought I seen a third. There you go. Thank you. Motion carried. Thank you. So what's your thoughts here on taking a 5-minute break here? What's council's thoughts?
10 minute.
10
Motion
minutes?
to take a 5-minute break.
What time is it here? It's 11:13. So how about we come back at 11:25?
Now you're getting away from what you said before. You could have this
7
meeting,
minutes. I split the difference here. 7 minutes.
you could have this meeting done by noon and our 3-hour limit.
That's right.
Yeah, we will have it done. So, okay. See you back at 11:25. Get a motion to resume the meeting. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy, seconded by Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, so we'll carry on with correspondence here. We have 7 action items here. The first one is with regards to the Peterborough Child and Family Center. Do you have anything for that, Bob? Any more comments?
No, through you, Mayor Martin, no further information other than what's in the correspondence there.
Okay. All right, so just need it. Dave, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think this is a good program. It's free family resources. I think it's a great thing. I think when we get our Matheson property up and going and get what we want done in there, this would be a prime example where this type of thing could happen. So I have no problem with if we can promote this on our webpage or wherever. I think it's a good thing. Thank you.
Okay, so go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, I think to Deputy Mayor's point there, when we get the Matheson property up and going, and I think we should get in touch with this group and, you know, tell them what is going on and what we're trying to do, and because we can't send somebody into the woods the way it is there, because they could trip and fall and we're liable again. I don't know where Methuen is, but I've seen it was Havelock-Belmont-Methuen with a B. But no, it sounds like a great program. I know they have it in Norwood and they're very successful. So I guess we should get back to this chap and explain where we are.
Yeah, so maybe you can make that a motion that we respond to this email and let them know that we're all on board with this, and hopefully one day we'll have a spot to offer. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy, seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor? Carried. So the next is with regards to the Havelock Legion. The only thing I said here is we may have to get a costing on what it is to change the banners midstream. We do it right now twice a year, but it's a great program that the Legion's putting out here. Maybe we can work with Ryan and see what how we could make it happen, or whether we do all the banners or a few around the Legion. There's probably several options. Go ahead, Dave.
Through you, Mr. Moore, I would make a motion that we contact staff, Ryan, and find out how many banners that they're actually talking about and what it's going to consist of. So I would leave that with Ryan. That's my motion. Okay. Or a direction, whatever you prefer.
That's good, Dave. I think that'll work. Ryan, if you can look into this, moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux that staff check into this to see what exactly they need, and we can put a costing to it. So seconded by Councillor Webb. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Next, we have the Shield magazine advertising. We can receive this, or what's council? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I think perhaps we missed one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, it was another Legion one. Sorry, I thought it was the same one. So
this is the request from the Legion looking for some assistance. I think it would be appropriate, perhaps, if we could ask staff to look in any grants that might become available to assist the Legion in this regard. I know that when they go through the grants, not asking them to do separate any more work, but if they come across grants that when they're going through our grants that would pertain to the Legion, and we could let the Legion know we would do that for them. I don't think we're going to do anything monetarily, but this would be a step in the right direction, I think.
Yeah, so if you can make that motion that we refer this to staff and see if there's any help we can get for them. I know all the organizations are having troubles right now. None of them have done any fundraising since March. So they're all starting to feel it now as the bills come in. So moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux that we pass this over to staff, and seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. Any other comments or questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, sorry, now the one with regards to Shield magazine. It's totally up to council here. Barry, go ahead.
I'll make a motion we receive.
Motion to receive, Councillor Pomeroy, seconded Councillor Webb. All in favor? Carried. And the next is a letter from MNRF with regards to the boat launch. So we can put that in a file with the rest of the stuff and see how we deal with it in the future. So for now, I would suggest a motion to receive and see what we can do. Deputy Mayor Giroux, go ahead.
I think I have the feeling where council would like to go with this, but at least I would like to ask staff. We do have a template of the memorandum of agreement with the Ministry of Natural Resources. What they provided, I would like to see our treasurer or the finance department look in to see how much it would cost to insure this. I know that the last meeting, things kind of got, we didn't want docks here and we didn't want docks there, and it wasn't right to have one here if we couldn't have one over there. All I'm asking, if perhaps Wendland could look into the insurance side of this, legal side of it, and give us a costing on what it might cost to enter into this. Council can take it from there after that and do whatever they like, but I think we should take this first step. We've asked for this in the past, and I don't see any reason why we can't ask for it now. Thank you.
Okay. Wendland, I seen your face pop up here, so you have something to add to that?
Yeah, I don't think it would be any extra cost on the insurance. The only thing with the insurance, it would be council would be taking on the extra liability of the risk. So I don't think there's a monetary increase overall. So I hope that answers your question.
Well, no, Wendland doesn't really answer. It was the liability cost that I was asking about. Now, working with other organizations in today's norm is $5 million for every occurrence. And if it comes to land or docks or whatever, there's normally a $2 million liability on property, put it that way. So to say that there is no extra cost, that's great. But HBM Corporation wouldn't be taking on that liability. It would be the insurance company. Am I correct in that thinking?
Well, I don't think there'd be a monetary increase to our fees per year with the insurance. It's just you're taking on the risk that if something happens, then we could be named in a lawsuit for a claim.
Similar to the ATV bylaw, we let them on the roads, and if somebody has an accident, it could affect our thing, but nothing up front.
Well, we're taking on the same risk now with the Kosh Lake Library and the Kosh Lake Beach.
Yeah.
So it's just what council's threshold is for liability and risk that you want to take on, and that council is fully aware that if there was a claim, that it could affect the rates in future years because there is a claim.
All right, thank you for that clarification.
Okay, Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me? I can't see my screen here. It's so damn bright. No, I read that letter, and it also says a registered entity such as an incorporated cottage association or the municipality would be eligible to apply. So if the cottage association were trying to help them out, they could apply and take it on. Or anyway, that's not the matter at hand right now. I think we're getting off track on this one.
Yeah, so I think if we could get a motion to receive this document and we can use it as far as looking at our other agreements that we have and see if there's an option to use this to move forward in another. But for now, it's just a motion to receive. Moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux and seconded by Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, next we have requests for with regards to pharmacare, Bill 213, C213.
Motion to receive.
Councillor Webb, go ahead.
Just a motion to receive.
By Councillor Webb. Okay, seconder. Councillor Ellis. Questions, comments? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, the next one we have here is with regards to the Conservation Act and the changes that the government put forward. I would suggest that we receive this. Crow Valley is working on it. They did have a delegation last week. This is another thing where we all had the input last year with regards to conservation authorities, and the concerns that we have weren't addressed in this. This was more of a developer thing, putting all the trust into the developers instead of the conservation authority, and it could be dangerous to go down that path. So I think the government missed the mark on this here. So the concerns that we've had, and Barry's expressed them hundreds of times as far as the costing, and that wasn't addressed here. It was more in the planning end of things. Dave, go ahead.
Sorry, motion to receive.
Motion to receive, Deputy Mayor Giroux, seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. Questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Next, we have a number of things that were in the correspondence file. We can have a motion to, the only one I had a suggestion with was number 4 with regards to we usually forward the forest management things over to Jack's Lake. So it might be a suggestion here that we make a motion that we forward that piece of correspondence to Jack's Lake so they can keep on top of things, because it does come down into their area. But other than that, we can receive it all. So Deputy Mayor Giroux.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to have this information sent to Jack's Lake Cottage Association. And they may already have it, but I know there were some issues up there last spring, so I would like to make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Councillor Pomeroy seconded. All in favor? And that's carried. And then the balance of the correspondence, if there's, is there anything you wish to discuss? Barry, go ahead.
I'll make a motion, we receive the balance of the.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy that we receive the balance of the correspondence. Seconder. Councillor Ellis, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay. Committee liaison reports. Is there anything, I'm just going to catch up here, but is there anything there anybody wishes to add to? I know we have minutes from the library board in there. I think that's the one, or is that the next one?
I got something for school, but I think it's listed under, well, it's listed under new business, Jim, so I'll just wait till.
Okay. So this is just with regards to things that council attended or took part in. We can receive it all, but there was minutes there with regards to the library board minutes from October 22nd. Can I get a motion to receive those minutes? Moved by Councillor Ellis, seconded Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor? And that's carried. And then the balance of the reports there, motion to receive them unless there's anything to add. Somebody want to motion to receive?
Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moved by Councillor Ellis, seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, there's no written or oral notice of motion. So I'm going to move into new business. And We have, sorry. Got too many buttons going on here too, Dave, so. Now I can't find anything. Okay, so we have Councillor Webb with regards to the school.
Yeah, new business. So on the handout you've been given, some of the teachers over at the school have organized what they call the winter solstice and Christmas celebration. And what they're planning on doing is having a little festival outside to celebrate kind of Indigenous peoples and things like that they're learning in their classes at the moment. And I guess one of the things they're going to be doing, the fire, as part of the fires that they want to have over there is, it's called a celebration of light. And I guess this was a part of, I don't know, festive traditions with the Indigenous people that the children are learning about. So, and on this day, the teachers said that they'll be running, I guess they've been taking tours through the Matheson property for the last month or two anyways with certain classes, but that day they'll be running tours up through the Matheson property, decorating trees and different outdoor activities and whatnot. They hope to be baking some bread. I was told I learned something last night. It's called bannock, and it's a traditional bread baked by the Indigenous people. And some of the kids will be making cedar tea as well. So basically what they're looking for us, or from us, was just approval to have a couple campfires over in the trees there next to the rink. So, and that would be December 16th.
Thanks, Hart. Council got any questions or comments? Go ahead, Dave.
Thank you for that, Hart. It brings back a little nostalgia. This is not really something not new, Hart. When the old school was up on the hill, Harold Hunter, Mr. Hunter, our principal, used to take the grade 8, grade 7 classes through the Matheson property, even though the municipality didn't own it then, and we'd have fires and cut Christmas trees and so on. So it is, I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see the tradition being carried out. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Joe. And just to that, I forgot, one of the teachers did mention that this is what they're looking to start, obviously with the long year we've had with COVID and whatnot, that they're hoping to maybe start a new tradition, and that this would be something that, yes, Deputy Mayor would carry on every year. So it'd be nice if we could help them out with that.
Good. Okay, any other questions? Barry, go ahead.
No, I think it's great. And Hart, the bannock bread is great. It's, if it's done the way it's supposed to be. I know our native friends that come to the jamboree, there's one of the mothers come down from up on Perry Sound, and she does a terrific job at it. So it's very, very tasty.
Well, just so you know, Councillor Pomeroy, there's an open invitation for you to come and get some bannock bread on the 16th. So they'll have some there waiting for you.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
That's good. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll look for, do we have a motion to support? Moved by Councillor Webb and seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor? And that's carried. Look forward to it. Next, we have, is there anything else there, Hart? Did you have anything else in there?
Yes, I did. Thanks for reminding me. I almost forgot. Was over at the rink last week. I don't know if it's because of COVID, but it's and my little boy's playing hockey in Norwood this year, but it was the first time I think I'd been in the rink in a while. I invite the rest of council and anybody else in the community to go over and check out some of the changes. I thought I needed a pair of sunglasses when I walked in the rink. There's been some painting and a whole bunch added to the lobby, and I just like to, tip my hat to Ryan and the rest of the guys that work over at the rink, because I was really impressed with what I saw the other night.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It looks really good. Okay. All right. So thank you, Art. We're going to move into Deputy Mayor Giroux in-person meetings. You're muted.
No.
one computer won't work and my hand won't work on the other one. All right. In-person meetings, where are we? I think, Bob, this is for you in particular. Perhaps when I sent my meeting schedule in, I made a mistake. I think I haven't got them in front of me, but 1 and 3 or 3 and 5 should be coupled together. I think there was only 4 meetings altogether, and I think there's 5 on the list. So I do believe that had to do with our Mayor Martin and MPP Smith and our county of the warden of the county rather. So just a small clarification. Everything else is good. I have no comment.
Okay. All right then. So the in-person meetings there, I know we've had discussion how hard it is, Dave, and moving forward, the way the numbers are going, I know staff is working on trying to come up with a plan. Right now, it's probably going to be a little bit yet I know others have reverted back away from it because of the challenges involved in it. So, but I do know Bob and them are working on a technology to try and see how we can come up with a way of doing it. So if we could leave it at that for now.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay, next we had rescheduling the December 14th budget discussion meeting, Wendelin.
Yeah, it was a request that maybe we postpone the December 14th meeting to early January, because there's still quotations and things of that nature that need to be worked into the budget papers. And I'd like to sit down with all of the department heads one last time before we have another council staff budget meeting, so that everybody's on board and knows exactly what's in their budget, because I have made some amendments as of last week with the last budget meeting that we had.
Okay, well, there's no sense in us getting together if we don't have all the information, and I think this might give an opportunity for staff to collect everything so we have all that we need to make the decisions, Wendelin. So before you put another date out, instead of making one today, let us know as soon as possible and we can set up and resume our budget discussions. There was Larry and then Hart.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, just a quick comment. It'll also give each of the department heads a chance to get their numbers in line, because as we've seen the last budget meeting, there's some of the departments don't have their numbers in line. Too big of increases, in other words, so it'll give the departments time to sharpen their pencils.
Okay.
Thank you.
And also another point is we won't have the MPAC numbers until later in December this year because of the COVID. So once I get those numbers, I can incorporate those into a concise tax rate for council to understand exactly what the impact is.
Okay, Hart, go ahead, and then Barry.
Yeah, I understand the delay in terms of wanting meeting with the department heads. Just in terms of us as a council, I'm worried about the time frame of the next meeting being in January, in terms of projects we'd like to have accomplished next summer or start next summer, and the time frame for those.
Okay, Wendelin.
What I'm getting at is, have a few projects next summer. Then if we're finishing budget in mid to late February, we're not going to have RFP stuff like that out. So I'd like to have some kind of discussion in terms of a council, in terms of what we're trying to accomplish here in the next 12 months. And let's get on those things, because like I've seen it happen before. We drag our feet, and next thing you know, we're February, March, and we've missed out, and then we're going to miss out next summer. So
yeah,
right. So basically, we're having a management meeting this Wednesday. So I can bring that to the table at the management meeting, and we could potentially bring forward some resolutions for different projects that we know council is really wanting to see happen in 2021. And most of the projects, like for example in roads, are funded by either the OMPF reserve or another reserve, which will not impact the bottom line per se. So we can get
Yeah,
those types of projects approved at the next council meeting, if that's what.
Yeah, I understand. I wasn't talking so much about roads. I'm talking more about, say, Matheson property and Parks and Rec projects in terms of stuff the roads, we kind of know what roads we need to fix, but there's other questions in terms of, whether it's going to be a splash pad, we're relocating the ball diamond, stuff like that, that needs to be hammered out if we're going to get going on it. So
maybe Wendell, at your management meeting.
We don't have any costing per se on some of those different items.
So maybe at your management meeting, Wendell, you can discuss that and see if there's any things, like you say, if it's going to be used, the OMPF money is going to be used for some of those things. You can bring some recommendations back from staff on how we might be able to move some of these things forward. Councillor Pomeroy, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I just wondered, has the county got their budget figured out yet? How much we're going to be up or down? Well, I imagine it's going to be up, of course, from last year, but.
We haven't started yet, so.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, they don't go, they're never done till March. So last year it was April, I think. So, or it was just before the COVID. So, or no, it was after COVID started. So anyways, yeah, it's, there's a lot on the go up there, and hopefully it isn't an increase, but it usually is. Any other comments with regards to this? So if, so like Hart said, if you could work on that in your management meeting, Wendelin, and see if there's anything that can be advanced and not held up, that would be great. Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, I do have one question again. Water and sewer rates. I know COVID picked up the expense the last time. Is that still available for this coming year?
We don't have any direction from the province yet on using any of the funds that are left over from the original grant money that we received. So I would think that probably early January, we should have some sort of parameters around that.
Okay, because it's not a lot of money out of what we have left, and I'm sure we're probably going to get more seed money the way the government's talking anyway. So I would just like to cash in on that. There is a lot of people that are struggling, and there's going to be a lot more before this is over. It worries me.
I was working on those COVID numbers last week, so I will have a report at the next council meeting where our status is on how much we've used of that funding, because the balance has to be put into reserve until they tell us what we can use that money for.
Yeah, the way it's going to work moving forward is it's an application process. It's not just going to be given to us. We have to apply for what we need. So yeah, so you'll have to work on them numbers.
Well, you know me, I like to apply for anything we can get.
Yeah, we all do. So, okay. All right then. So
is that fine to push the meeting until January?
It's probably going to be early January. And then hopefully we can get 2 or 3 meetings in to nail down all the departments and come up with a solution to next year's budget. Is that okay with council?
Yeah.
Possibly if you could find out after your management meeting, maybe you can come up with a date, like, for the new year.
Yeah.
And we'll start early and let's get it done. Okay. All right then. Is there any other new business? Go ahead, Larry. You're muted. You have to have it once, Larry. Everybody has to have it once that they mute, and then.
Just a few things for council's information and staff. I did reach out to the Chamber of Commerce, gave them a list of questions that came forward from our budget meeting, and still waiting for some replies. One good thing is Tracy Bertrand, who is a liaison from Economic Development, is back on the scene. She was off work anyway, she was off work for a little while, but she's back and involved with the chamber, which is a good thing. So I'm waiting for a feedback from the chamber regarding the questions around the kiosk, washroom and so on. The agreements with Lions and the CPR and so on. Anyway, so I'm looking forward for feedback from that. Also, I want to comment quickly on the Peterborough housing. I don't know about the rest of council, but I'm starting to get questioned in the general public because they don't know whether they've been approved, haven't been approved. Most people have to make, major arrangements in order to, if they are accepted, to get, out of their present dwelling and so on. But they're kind of like hung out there and they don't know at this point, and it's getting close. So I was hoping that through staff, we could get some correspondence sent to Peterborough Housing to basically wake them up and, inform the people if they're going to be approved or not approved. So I'll ask staff if they can do that. Also, our seniors group had applied for a grant through, and Wendland supported their application, and I understand through Wendland that they were denied, possibly because of COVID and some of the things that they were wanting to do with the grant money. So apparently they've been denied it, but last council meeting, Councillor Pomeroy brought forward another grant that was brought forward, available to assist seniors. So I would ask Wendland if she could look at that. To see if there's something that the seniors could apply for. My list here. Housing signs. The intersection back at 6th Line, Preston Road, and Burnt Dam. I had a gentleman call me the other day. He witnessed a near accident at that intersection. So there was somebody traveling north on the 6th. There was a car coming with a trailer from Preston Road heading, I guess that's west. And the guy coming down the 6th line, he went straight through down Burnt Dam Road. And of course, the guy heading on Preston Road didn't stop, didn't yield, and there was a near accident there. The guy ended up where we clear cut it and opened it up there. So the gentleman that called me is saying, I don't know what you're doing there, but it's not been completed. They're hollering, should be all stop signs all the way around. But my point was, if the guy's traveling down the 6th line and doesn't obey traffic, no matter what we do with signage there, that's not going to eliminate somebody running into each other. I think the confusing part again is a yield sign when you're coming west on Preston. Some of them yield, some don't, some just keep traveling. So I talked to Peter this morning a little bit about it, and so he's kind of waiting. He's again saying, well, the traffic study all indicated that we should get them signs out of there. So I just wanted to talk about it with council so they're aware.
Did they phone Peter, Larry? Like some of these things for a quicker response would be to call the Public Works and let them know right away. Did they?
Well, no, they didn't. But again, I communicated it to Peter. So and he's waiting. If council's going to change their mind, and I'm leaning, let's get whatever we've decided to do, get it in place. Again, I think the yield thing is a confusing thing. Nobody does yield to begin with. And the guy coming north on the 6th line, if he's going to cut in front of somebody, like no matter what kind of signage you're going to have there, it's just like Peter said, well, it's like going back 46, and then if you were going to turn down 44, well, if you don't obey traffic, then you're going to have an accident. So anyway, I see Peter's lit up there, so I'll let Peter comment if you would, please.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, to Councillor Ellis. Yes, I look back in the 2015 roads needs study on our sign inventory, and they are saying the same thing as much as Engage. There's a few different, not very much. The one thing is the roads needs study states that there should be a stop sign coming out of Burnt Dam instead of a yield, which Engage has, which is the only difference. But both studies are saying remove the yield on Preston Road coming south or west on Preston, and Engage thought with the chevrons going up in place that it would make the 6th line through the Preston Road the main traveled corridor, which would give the chevrons would give people that impression. So yes, we are in the process of installing the chevrons. The posts are in. We are just waiting to get our advertisement and pick a date to install up what council had passed with the I believe it was the second option there for a yield coming out, removal of the yield signs and in the chevrons. So if council wishes to have another look at this, we can surely do that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Peter. And I think what I've heard over and over is the problem isn't coming off of Burnt Dam Road. It's the people that go straight through off of the 6th line to Burnt Dam Road. So many times they're turning in front of people that are in the live lane. So anyways, I don't know. I think no matter what we do, there's going to be issues around there unless we put a 3-way stop. But Councillor Webb, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm just concerned about what Councillor Ellis has brought up, because when we talked about this, that was exactly the kind of situation that I was talking about. Is that if you have someone traveling, I guess it would be east to west, they don't know that the other people, don't have to yield. And we're all assuming, like, we all know those roads, but to me, a lot of the people that use those roads back there are cottagers. They're using them on weekends or for a couple of weekends or a month a year. They're not familiar. So if I'm heading, especially if I'm heading west and I'm coming around that corner, I don't even know that Burnt Dam Road exists down there. So how am I going to, know to maybe expect a car coming out of there or whatnot? So
okay,
that's why I was always comfortable with a 3-way stop.
Okay, Peter, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. I'll just read this quickly. This is from a roads needs study, just one paragraph. It's apparent that DM Wills, the intention of the yield sign coming south or west on the Preston Road, it's not real clear what the intention of that yield sign is. But with that being said, this is right out of the roads needs study. Regardless of the intention of the yield sign, having a yield and a stop condition in conflict is not permissible as per Book 5 of the OTM, the Ontario Traffic Manual. Furthermore, this arrangement is a very rare deviance from standard, and similar instances were not found. So everyone seems to be saying the same, that the yield sign on Preston Road coming west or south is the issue. So however we want to handle the traffic coming out of Burnt Dam as it being a stop sign, or looking for direction, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, Hart, go ahead.
Me? Oh, yeah. Sorry, you're cutting out there. Yeah, no, I'm just unclear in terms of, because to me, that's not even the issue. Is when you're coming north off the 6th line and you have a right of way to go right down Burnt Dam Road. That's where so I understand, yeah, there's going to be issues on the other corner, but the major accident is going to occur when somebody goes straight down the 6th line into Burnt Dam and somebody on the other lane doesn't know that they don't have to yield. There's no sign saying you have, if you take, I don't like it. I'm not really understanding the book, because you're taking a yield sign out that's warning people about what's happening ahead. Now we're just putting chevrons there, so people will be driving faster around that corner. And like, I think it's just a disaster waiting for some time to happen. Like, I don't know.
So, yeah, Dave and then Larry.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. Peter, just quickly run me through this. Maybe I'm mixed up. Maybe I've been mixed up from the start. I'm traveling north on the 6th line, and I want to go down to the Burnt Dam Road. It's my responsibility to check to see that there's not, I'm going to interfere in traffic when I do that. I'm going to cross the main road.
Yep.
I have to put my blinker light on, and if there's nothing coming, I can proceed.
That's right.
If there is, it's my responsibility to give way. I can't see a problem here.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. No, that's the way I think is how the engineers are looking at the intersection. If we remove the yield coming south or west on Preston Road, you are exactly right, Mayor Deputy Giroux. That way, if you're crossing over a lane of traffic, turning left, then you are completely responsible. But if there is a yield and it is,
So when I'm coming, when I'm coming around the corner, heading the other way, and there's no stop sign, and the guy comes up Burnt Dam and he doesn't have to stop, what happens then?
well, the Burnt Dam, coming out of Burnt Dam, it's right now, it is a stop sign. What was proposed as a yield. So they should be stopping or yielding to the people going north and south on the 6th line or Preston Road, either way.
So Peter, are you waiting for a recommendation from council? I know you have your road need study there. So we've talked about this for so long, and you did what we asked you to do, but talking to the public that live there, I think that's what we're talking about here is unlike if you take a different intersection like 44 and 46, similar type of thing, but it has a little bit of a joggle at the end of it. So you don't necessarily go straight off the highway onto it. So right now people are going straight off and yeah, they would be in the wrong. If it goes to the police, it's going to be the one coming off the northbound lane going on to Burnt Dam Road is going to be in the wrong because they are making kind of a left, but really they're going straight through. It's just one of those things that no matter what we do, it's going to be a tough intersection. And I know the road needs study is there, but we need to, if you're waiting for some recommendations from us, or you're just going to finish up what the road needs study says, as long as we're covered insurance wise as a municipality and liability, if that's what the engineers are saying, we can stick with it. But I think if you listen to the public, they're going to go with a three-way stop in that immediate area. Maybe not the ones on Preston Road that are wanting to get home quicker, but the immediate area there, I think would suggest to you that it should be a three-way stop. But you're going with the road needs study, and that's all you have to do. But I'll go to Peter and then Larry, and then we'll wrap this up.
Yes, Mayor Martin, I wondered, what if I put an email together, or get staff to put an email together and then just edit the roads needs study, and I can send it out to all of council from the Engage proposed and the actual DM Wills roads need study from 2015, and you can have a read, and we can just hold on to changing the intersection at this time until council has a chance to review what both of them have said.
Well, I seen you had the stakes up. You probably should get some signs on them for now while they're up. You know, whether it's chevrons or yield signs or whatever, but there's some empty poles standing there that probably should have some direction. And you know, and at least it's going with what the recommendations say. But if council wants to make their own recommendations, you know, what we're going to get into a whole other thing here. So Larry, go ahead.
Just without prolonging this any further, Pete, can you comment? Remember we talked about if there was a stop sign at Preston where there presently is a yield sign. You commented before about some difficulty with that setup.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. I believe it was the sight lines, because the intersection is not as a 90-degree T. The stop, I don't believe would, the stop sign stop intersection is so great. The radius, the whole intersection is so big. I don't believe it would fit into the actual Ontario traffic manual as well. So I think the second option that we all have approved and passed, and I think that is the best option to go with. But as Councillor Ellis has had another a resident call him, so I just, yeah.
So, and just one last thing, everybody that I've talked to still would prefer the stop sign at the exit of Burnt Dam Road. Because presently the plan is to put a yield there, to yield into the traffic to the 6th line. They're all saying that leave the stop sign there. There's not a problem stopping there in the wintertime. So,
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, we can do that. It would have to be approved by council, but we can change the proposed yield coming out of Burnt Dam, keep it as it is as a stop sign, and remove the yield and put the chevrons up. That's completely okay.
Okay. So, Peter, see what you can have for that. I think we kind of left you, I think the original recommendation other than a stop sign. Dave, go ahead. And then we got to get through this.
Yeah, I'll just make that recommendation until council changes their mind again, to leave the stop sign there and put the chevrons up.
Perfect.
That's my recommendation.
Okay, moved by council. You want that motion now?
Yep.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux and seconded by Councillor Ellis. Hart, go ahead.
No.
All in favor? And that's carried. And there's one other thing here that Larry brought up, and that's a letter to Peterborough Housing with regards to the applicants, notifying the applicants if they've been approved or not. Bob, can you do that?
Try that again. There we are.
Yeah.
Sorry, through you, Mayor Martin. Of course, we will follow up with Peterborough Housing and ensure that they are in contact with those applicants.
Perfect. Okay, Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, last week, I think it was, I came in and seen Bob, and like all the information that I had was from 2017 and 2018 in my file, and things have really changed at the Peterborough Housing Building from what it was originally stated. And we tried to get in touch with Peterborough Housing. I don't know, they're not open, and then there were some people that wouldn't answer and wouldn't give us any information. But anyway, as the day went on, Bob worked at it, and he got some very informative information here for seniors, because I'd been approached 2 weeks ago, but I couldn't answer anyone because the figures were all different, for the max that you had to make. Do you still have to sell your own home? Is that in the affordable housing? The market rent unit is different. You pay more. So are you allowed to own property? So I think some of those questions have been answered here in detail, and I'm really glad to see it, because when people ask you questions, you feel kind of stupid, when the last information you got was from 2018. And I don't know, to me, they are not very informative. We gave them the property. We've loaned them money. And anyway, we'll let that part go. But anyway, thanks, Bob, for getting all this information for the rest of us, because maybe we can answer some questions, and I might have some questions later on with you. But I would like probably 5 copies of what you have on the computer here, hard copies, so that when somebody calls me and if I have to go and visit them or whatever, I can, present the information to them. And then they have a more informative decision anyway to make. So
that's good, Bob. Maybe while you're talking to them, Bob, you can ask them about a tour for the council. I know Councillor Pomeroy's been there, and Deputy Mayor Giroux and myself have been there, but a couple haven't been there, so you might want to set up a tour for them too. She was supposed to get back to me a couple of weeks ago, and I haven't heard anything. I've had some applicants contact me, and I just steer them to Peterborough Housing, and they've got some Anyways, if you'll have copies on the counter too, if I tell people to come and pick them up there.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, we can certainly prepare the information that's in the agenda package. We're happy to distribute it to council members, as many as you like. We will have it available to the public as well. It is posted on our website as well, if anyone's looking there. And I'll certainly approach Peterborough Housing with respect to a tour for council.
Good. Okay, Barry, go ahead.
Just one more thing on that, Bob. I didn't see any question and answer sheets like they handed out before. You know, a typical question and then they had the answer for it. I didn't see it. Have they got one of those on there?
Okay, we'll see if we can hunt one of those down for you.
I got some old ones here, but
Okay,
I'll drop one off to you.
okay, perfect.
Okay.
Okay. All right then. Is there any other new business?
Yeah, maybe. Let me see here. The storm drain at CPR. I hope nobody gives up on that. Do we have to get after our engineer for that, or are we going to pursue our MP?
Yeah.
For to get the information on that, and if so, you know, can we get started as soon as possible, because it's that hinges the whole operation of what they have planned. And
Peter gave me some information this morning an email that I can use. So yeah, we're on it still, Barry.
okay, thank you. And what else have we got here? Oh, the meetings at the office. I guess we talked about that today.
Yeah, like Dave had it in his, but then he skipped over it, so I figured it was a mistake. But all I said is right now that it'd be pretty hard to have meetings in the office until I talked to some last week, and they're still in the state of emergency. They never did come out of it. And
No, but
others
I mean Zoom. Like we could use the Zoom in the office and
oh yeah,
instead of at home, like the Deputy Mayor Giroux's point, you know, your home isn't your home anymore when you have a meeting. You know, but anyway, we'll leave it at that, and we'll discuss that further. But I think it should happen.
yeah, there's a lot of technical things to try and get through, and that's what Bob's working on now. Bob and Bianca are trying to figure it out, because you couldn't just go in there and do a bunch of Zoom. There's not enough data or whatever we wouldn't be able to do it electronically with a bunch of computers running. So they're trying to figure out how to do it with one main computer. So they are working on it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Dave, go ahead.
Just for clarification I'm not a techie, so just for clarification, if the 5 council members were sitting in their desk with the Zoom cameras the way we have them today with our laptops, what's the difference of being there and in your home?
There isn't, but there's not enough data in, like the Wi-Fi wouldn't carry it. That's one of the problems right now. But if you need to, like I told you, go over and use my office. That's what some are doing. I don't have to see.
I thought that office was a lunchroom.
No, it's not. It's so it's there, and there's a couple of people going over. It wouldn't be a big deal, but for the whole staff to use it, or of the whole of council, it probably would cause a problem. We might have to go to other buildings if it's necessary. But right now, we're working through it.
Well, I'm glad we're working through it. I really appreciate the effort to those staff that are. So when we get our new building, let's make sure we got sufficient Wi-Fi to handle us.
Speak to your county warden. So we'll get the numbers yet. Bob?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I have no problem with my virtual meetings from my home, just for your information. Thank you.
Right. Okay, we will get through this. I know it's tough. You know, I fell off this thing a couple of times. We all do, but we're getting through it, and hopefully it's coming to an end here in the next year. Anyways, it's so we'll get something going, Dave. But like I say, if any of council needs to, and they want to go into the municipal building, I'm sure a couple of people could handle it. Other than that, I know I was going to say go to the arena, but I know there's issues out there with the Wi-Fi too, so I don't know how we can do it with our, maybe the library. If one of the council has troubles at home, they can go to the library maybe, use it. I'm sure they got good Wi-Fi. So we'll get through it. We're working on it and trying to come up with the technical problems with regards to Zoom and trying to make it happen. So, okay. Anything else? All right, so we're going to move on to bylaws. We had one more bylaw to pass, and that's with regards to the interim taxes dates. Motion to approve move the bylaw.
Motion to approve, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Ellis and Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, next we have the confirming bylaw for today's meeting. Moved by Councillor Webb and seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor? And that's carried. And the next one is the motion to adjourn, and that's Councillor Pomeroy. And there's always a first, but there's never a second on the Councillor Ellis. All in favor? Carried. All right, thanks. So we are going to have a closed session 1 o'clock, or no, it's not too late now. Maybe, I don't know. What time do you want to do it then, Bob?
Whatever council likes. What time would you like to meet?
Hart calls it.
1:30? Well, I don't know, it's an hour. 1:30, okay with everybody?
Perfect.
1:30 it is.
That's an hour for lunch?
Perfect.
Yep, sounds good. Moved by Councillor Webb, we go to 1:30. So, all right, we'll see you over there.